All right, and there that is. I'll just say one more time, welcome to everyone. We're so glad to have you here for the YMCA's Digital Services Monthly Call. We have some exciting things to report on with regards to the new release that is going live tomorrow. And Kylie and Shelly and the rest of the members of the tech team will be delivering on that. And of course, we'll have some opening remarks from Tom Gardner. So let me turn it over to Tom.
Hi, everybody. These remarks will be brief because while I had a wonderful experience at the equity conference last week, I picked up the flu, and it's a humdinger of a flu. So I'm so excited to be here. I'm so happy to be here virtually because you don't want this. And so pleased on behalf of myself and the team to be able to present this December release to you. And for all the right reasons, I'll turn it back over to you, Tom. Thank you for being here today.
Great, thank you so much. From the core team, who would like to
I'll start.
Right,
I'll start for us for a bit. So Shelly, would you like to be the slide sharer and bring up the deck for us? Perfect. We are going to go through a couple different things. The release, as they said, goes live tomorrow morning. So the purpose of today's conversation is to tell you what's going to be in that release, show you where you're going to find different information, documentation, etc., and then talk to you guys about what's coming in the future. Because we're coming into the holiday season, we know you guys all have a lot to do. We'll try to keep it short and sweet today and get moving through this list. So at that, I will turn it over to Shelly, who is going to walk you through all the lovely things we built. Heads up, we're giving you the shortened version. The full release notes, if you would like to know what they are a total of 7 pages. This is a big release for the distribution, and we're very excited to present it to you. So Shelly, why don't you take us through the first little bit?
Absolutely. All right. I apologize if things bounce around a little bit. My mouse is very sensitive. All right. So on our agenda today, we'll cover just a quick update on the December release and what's included. And then we'll go over some of the components that we've created for Layout Builder version 1 for you, including training and documentation. That we've done a pretty comprehensive job to make sure that you guys have all the tools that you need to be able to use this wonderful new feature. Then we'll quickly discuss future releases, and then we'll hit some questions from the core team. Okay, for our December release, and let me see if I can kind of make it so everyone can see here. As you can see, this is a pretty big release, and this is a very short synopsis of what we are including. We've got Layout Builder version 1 components, which we will talk about in a little more detail in a few moments. We've also got a security update to Drupal core 9.4 and also a security update for Virtual Y. We've made some improvements to branch hours, including the ability to include custom labels on days. So you can have Christmas Day, Thanksgiving Day, New Year's Day as a custom label on your branch hours, which I think will be actually really helpful for you all in the upcoming holidays. We've also got some updates to Activity Finder, primarily to the schedule PDFs. We've done some UX improvements on those. We've also included some updates to locations and improved the mobile page layout, and mostly in tablet, and also done some labeling updates for locations as well. We've got some improvements for admin and content editors, multiple improvements for that, including being able to clone nodes and entities and being able to batch upload media files such as photos and other things. Then we've got a whole bunch of other general bug and issue resolutions. As you can see, for the core features, we addressed 14 issues, including multiple fixes to alerts. I think there were about 6 issues addressed with alerts, so there should be some improvements there. And with the Virtual Y, we addressed a total of 23 issues, including some errors with chats and one-on-one meetings. And when we share this deck with you, there'll also be a link to the full release notes here so you can see the full details. I believe we actually addressed 53 issues in total during this release. So as you can see, I had to consolidate it down to something quite smaller than 53. Okay.
I just want to add to, while we're in this sort of space, that those 14 issues that were addressed in the core features and the 23 in Virtual Y, They come from the community at large. And so we just want to send a big thank you to you guys for helping spot them and identify them, your development teams, the core teams, the YUSA teams, everybody who marks these things in GitHub and lets us know. It's very critical, that communication cycle and communication flow. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Even if you don't understand the technology behind it, when you post stuff for us in the Slack channel that says this feels like it's broken, and we can say, yeah, you're right, it is. It's in the distribution. Those issues then get translated over to us and get fixed. So we are very grateful for everything that you flag, whether you understand the technical implications of it or not. So thank you guys for that one as well. Sorry,
Awesome.
Shelley.
Yeah, thank you, Kylie. Okay, and next we have just a quick list of our layout builder components before I hand things off to our teammate Avi, and he will start to go into the documentation and training. So just a quick overview of the components included in this version. We have accordions, we have cards, we have carousels, we have grid content, hero banners, ping pong blocks, promo card and simple menus, which are some sidebar elements. We have statistics, tables, tabs, and web forms. And I'll hand it now over to Avi, and we will review some of our training and documentation that we have for Layout Builder.
Yeah.
Take it away, Avi.
Thanks, Shelley. I'm going to take over the screen, I think. I think you got to stop sharing.
Yep, I can go ahead and do that.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So as Shelley said, we've got a lot of new stuff in here. I'm going to take you through a demo of those blocks that Shelley called out, and then I'll go through some of the documentation and training resources that we've prepared. So this is a demo page that we've put together, trying to get all of those blocks onto a single page. It's meant kind of as a style guide, but and this will be coming out with some of the components shortly. So this is what the landing page layout builder page will look like. A lot of these things will look similar to what they did before. So we've got the hero banner up here. We have accordions that do the accordion thing with an optional title. These are the cards, so they're kind of more styled. And one thing to note, this build is like 2 days old, and we've had a ton of bug fixes come in the last 2 days. So there are a couple things that you'll see here that will be different in the full release. A lot of these components have an option for a button at the top and a title subtitle at the top and a button at the bottom. You'll see that pattern repeated a bunch of times. We have our carousels. Yeah.
So just to point out on those cards, guys, that have 4 across, you have flexibility within that card structure as well. So they don't have to be 4 across. The benefit of Layout Builder allows you to put just 1 in, put 2 in, put 3 in, put 4 in. It doesn't stretch past 4. But that's sort of your limitations as you kind of go through it. So you have the ability to configure them. You also have the benefit of Layout Builders, your guys' ability to customize by adding a title, not adding a title, adding a subtitle, a theme, a bar, a button. All of those things are optional in varying blocks. So what the big piece that the team has done here is to give you fewer blocks with more flexibility so you can make more customized content. So as Avi goes through, we'll try to call out some of those, but the big thing is with these 4 across, they don't have to be presented as 4. So a lot of people have 3 across. This could also be your 3 across or 2 or 1. So that's how we're working our way through it.
Thanks, Kylie. Yeah, the number of options is overwhelming sometimes. There are a lot of things in there. So as we said, there's a carousel. This will be changed up a little bit, but you can see we've got a number of images and text and a link on top of them. We have the grid CTA. So yeah.
Sorry, I just want to hold up and answer Sarah's question. So Avi, you want to address it? It says for mobile, is it always break to 1 column with stacked blocks?
Sorry, yes, I did not have my chat up. Thanks for that.
Okay.
Yes, so I'll show the mobile display in a second, but yeah, on mobile, pretty much everything goes to 1 column. And there are options if you want to override that as well.
Out of the box,
Yep.
though, yes.
Sorry, for which?
I just said out of the box, it's one
Out of the
column.
box, yeah.
If you wanted to change that, it would be customization in your code base.
Nope, that's, you can change
Am I
how
wrong?
it stacks.
Yeah.
I'll show that in a sec. So yeah, the grid items, it's similar to the cards, but it's a little more streamlined and flexible of a card. So it has a title, it has an image, title, description, and a link, but pretty much all of those are optional too. So often people use this grid content, just to have a couple links across the page, or image and a link. You can do kind of any combination of those that you want, and that is flexible too, from 1 to 4 columns. Again, there's that link button at the bottom. We've got the ping pongs. So again, section, title, and subtitle. Then we have the ping pong blocks where the image kind of bounces back and forth. There are also options here to add backgrounds and change the design of these. All of that is kind of in some custom style options when you are in Layout Builder. There's the statistics block. So this has your numbers, and there's some animation when it loads. Again, you can change the background, you can add an image behind that. There are a lot of options there. You can have 1 to 4 statistics. Web form embed. So this is pretty similar to what we had before. You can take any web form that you've built in Drupal and embed it within the page. This is an example here of a 2-column layout. So on the left here, we have the table block, which you can also just use for simple content, but we have some extra styling on tables that makes them work better for mobile. And on the right here, we have a promo card block. So that's meant to be kind of a standalone card that calls out some call to action. Finally, we've got another 2-column layout. This one is flipped so that the left side is small. Over here is the simple menu. This is just like a kind of embeddable in the page, like 1-layer menu. And then we have tabs where you can add lots of content split up into tabs on the page. So those are all the components. I'll show you very briefly. Once you're logged in, you can manage all of those through Layout Builder. There's this layout tab here, and from there, you have a ton of flexibility to rearrange the page, to drag and drop things, and to edit all of the content. So if you wanted to do something like, say this section is still split on mobile, you can go in here and say, make it 50-50 on mobile, and it'll do that. Again, you'll want to test all these things out. We give you a lot of power with Layout Builder, and you'll want to see how things work before you publish it, or you'll want to take some time to experiment. So there are lots of options in here, and there is lots more documentation on that. So if you want to learn more, you can go to our documentation page, ds-docs.y.org. From here, you'll go and read the docs, and then user documentation, and you'll find Layout Builder. So we've kind of, with previous releases, we've backfilled some of the documentation. We've had things in various places. The documentation here is really an attempt to consolidate all of the documentation that's been generated over many years of OpenY and YUSA website services. And so now we're kind of trying to get out of the gate with Layout Builder, having documentation from the start. Oh, sorry, I didn't show the mobile view there. Let me do that real quick.
And since we know most of you guys are marketing related and technical documentation is not your jam, we do have a treat for you that we haven't done in the past, which is training documentation in the form of videos that Avi's been so diligently creating. So you get to listen to the smooth stylings of Avi's voice on all of these videos, but we're really excited to share that with you guys as well, so that you can, and it might be a good way for you guys to see how the individual components work as well, if you just want to listen to those.
Yeah,
so Augie, if you want to show them where those are.
Yep. So in the written documentation, we've got some introduction here, and then explanations of every component. Each of these has descriptions, and there will be an embedded video as well. But we also have a YouTube page, youtube.com/@YMCA's Digital Services. Got a nice handle there. And then there's a playlist for all of the layout builder components. And I'm listening to myself. There we go. That's me. So we have about 3/4 of the components up already. I'm working on those when I'm not talking to you right now, and they should be finished by the end of the day.
Perfect. We have a couple questions I just want to address. So Mike is asking, is there a future plan to customize forms in terms of design? An example of creative forms would be for the JOT form. Not sure if that's something that is in high demand, but would be nice to have.
Sure.
What is a JOT form?
JOT form is an external service
Oh, I see.
that uses yeah, it's just an external form builder. You are able to use external services in the site. I think JotForm, either uses JavaScript or iframes. So that's something that you could put in. I think we do have clients that do more custom forms, but also, Mikey, if you haven't played with web form out of the box, there's a ton of options in there to do almost anything that you want to do.
I can say I know we're looking at some solutions for financial aid and things like that in the next couple of releases. And so there might be options there that would have additional customized forms as well. One more question from Jennifer. Are we going to be able to keep the same URLs when building the new pages? Andre's answered you in the chat. Yes, you can, but just to call it out to the whole community.
Yeah, so both options we have in the same node edit form. You can use old, which we call now as old workflow, where you can put all paragraphs that you have, or you can switch to layout builder and put everything that is available in the layout builder. And this lives all together, so you can have one page in paragraphs, another page in layout. But going forward, just remember that at some point in a year or more, we will start deprecating old components that are in paragraph. So it's better to start leveraging layout builder when you see that it's possible for you.
Yep, and you can when you're creating these pages, you'll have the URL alias option, just the same as any other page on the site. So if you want to kind of do a one-for-one, like rebuild a page and replace it in place, you can just set that alias accordingly. Any other questions?
Not at this time.
Cool. Yeah, and Sarah Baker does say you can apply styling via CSS kind of manually. Yeah, that's always a good option.
Can you bring the slides back up there, Shelley?
Oh, sorry. I think, yeah, that was all for me.
Well, go back one slide if we can. So one of the things that's going to be in here is the list of links. We will get these off to you as well in this section. We'll also post them directly in the Slack channel so you can have them. One of the things, I don't know if Avi or I are going to talk about it, but I'll talk about it because I've got it. We wanted to draw attention to is there is a sandbox, which you guys can go in and play with. If you'd like access to that sandbox, just let Tom Scarborough here know via Slack, and he can help get you some credentials and access. You do need username and password, so you can go in and play around in it. Quick note, it rewrites every 2 hours, so you can play, but after 2 hours, it will delete all of your lovely playing and go back to the way it was. So don't get too held up with what you put into it, but it is done that way. So if you are interested in looking around, we can make sure that we give you access, or you can just use the videos just to get a better sense of Layout Builder. We know it's a big adjustment.
Yeah, And for folks on the call who aren't in Slack, I've pasted a link to join Slack in the chat here, as well as the links to the YouTube and the documentation.
Just a second, there was a question. Is there a schedule for the 2-hour update? I don't believe so. Andre, do we know when it updates, like reconfigures? Is it every
every 2 hours starting from like 0 hour at night, so you can
midnight?
just cover too late. Yeah,
What time zone?
Midnight, then 2 a.m. 4 a.m. Time zone is UTC.
So yeah, it's the European time zone every 2 hours. It's pretty well on the evens, is based on that structure. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That'll help you.
But
if you kind of
Sarah, if you need exact number, just pin me in Slack, and I'll respond when next executor will be running.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Can we get just the next slide?
Yeah, if I can get my mouse to work.
All right, upcoming releases. So that's what we've got for you in this release. We're really excited to present it to you again. It will be posted tomorrow. You can talk to your vendors and your teams and make decisions over the next few months what that will look like. It's going to continue to grow between the next 2 releases. The next one will be in March. The one after that will be in June. We have started working as of this week on the March release. It will include an amalgamation, as I spoke about, of blogs, news, and articles so that you can use taxonomies to deal with that. We're working on a whole new design system for those who are in the SME group for the design team. You guys will get a preview of that tomorrow with global elements, menus, footers, headers, and that's a big piece. We're going to do one more security update before the end of the year, in the start of the year, to Drupal 9.5. And then as we progress into June, we will be heading into Drupal 10. Our hopefully last and final version of Layout Builder will come to you guys in June, which will be your camps programs and any sort of final design systems, cleanups, labeling changes. As we go through this process, we're trying to clean up a lot of technical debt as we go. One of those things would be things like the number of conversations we've had around the idea of standardization of names, titles, fields in the back end, a lot of back end design to make sure that for you as content editors, the process is as smooth and as easy as possible. So a lot of that last bit of cleanup will come in the June release, as well as any sort of standardization of branding guidelines, things like that. And then we're continuing to work on the product roadmap. We would love to hear from you guys what that looks like. We're going to be also in this process, hopefully building you guys out a system to make it easier for you to submit ideas and thoughts to a product roadmap so that we can make a choice and pick through that. So that is also coming in the near future. And then again, this system is built for you based on your ideas. So if you have something that you feel you need, want, or that would be beneficial to the movement at large, please let myself know, let Shelley know, let Tom and Tom know. Come to the Slack channel. We meet twice a week, every week, to make sure that we are serving you as best as possible. That is it for our next couple of releases. Tom, anything on your side?
I'd love to hear some feedback.
Questions, you mean? And that's a good question. Is there any questions from the community, any concerns, things that you want to address at this time? It's okay if there's not. It's okay.
I'm happy to provide some feedback. I mean, I think what's exciting is that there's continued work being done. And for those of us who have not yet converted, we're very interested in converting, and we're more encouraged to know that there's active work being done to fortify and to continue to build out this very important platform. I, for one, we've been shy at the West Coast YMCA to transition over because we just weren't sure, but this is helping us to feel as if there's a long-term plan and investment strategy around this work. So thank you for that.
Thanks, Philip.
So there was a question from Sarah in the chat, just to read that out. It says, I feel like this was answered last month, but I can't remember. Will Layout Builder be available for themes other than Card Nation in 2023? The answer is no, but the reason it's no is because our goal is to give you enough flexibility that you can make Layout Builder look like the other themes. So you won't need to have Rose and Lily anymore. In truth, the answer is there won't be a carnation next year. There will just be when we are done, the final version will just be a Layout Builder agnostic of themes that will allow you guys to have more flexibility to not be beholden to a theme where you can customize and change it based on that structure. That is the benefit of it. It also helps with maintenance costs because as Rose gets to be about 7 years old at this point, there are items that weren't built for Rose. So this allows it to become standardized in the full map. You still can do a small, slow, lazy migration, even if you're on Rose, to the Layout Builder content. For the people who speak technically, did I miss anything?
No, just add to this that previously, in order for you to get site looking differently, you had to implement whole theme and theme all components. In a new system, if you need tabs, component, or accordion look slightly different, your partner should implement only style for that component, which is like 1% of the effort in comparison to the theme. But going forward, it depends from the feedback. If community will see more need to have kind of a skins for different components, we can work on that. Right now, we see that, and you can check this on sandboxes and give us feedback. Right now, we see that when you use style step in your sidebar of Layout Builder, you can do almost anything to completely change the look and feel, change theme, change color scheme, that it will look completely different than what Avi just presented to us.
Yeah, previously to go from blue to green was a developer conversation. If you guys want to go from blue to green now, it's within the hands of the content editors. And that's the big adjustment because we know sometimes wise change the color as we go. Any other questions or feedback or thoughts or things you'd like to share? Tom, I think we're good.
Yeah, and again, please use this as an open forum. I mean, questions are welcomed, feedback is welcomed. You know, this is your time, so please chime in.
I'll just add along the lines of the components, like just tiny little bit more in the weeds. There is the components are styled kind of individually as opposed to just having a whole bunch of stuff in the theme. So for folks who are partners or developers on the call, it is a lot easier now to override those individual libraries or to add to them instead of having to kind of supplement the whole theme. So that's going to make making larger changes a lot easier.
All right.
And that's a lot of Drupal core that's enabled that.
Well, we promised we would keep it short and sweet today, Tom, and I think we have done that, which I think is wonderful from start to finish.
Yeah.
Oh, there is one comment from Thomas Babcock in the chat.
I'm assuming that we will have to migrate existing content to Layout Builder. Yes. You can do it slowly. Andre coined the term lazy migration. You can do it slowly over time. And you don't have to do it in one shot.
Let me repeat what I said previous call, that if your site is small, then lazy migration is a way to go. Like you can rebuild your site with a new content editing experience in a couple of weeks on your free time. But if your site is large, we are working on implementing demo content for Layout Builder, and that demo content will be implemented on migration subsystem of Drupal, which means that 80% of the work we are going to do. But if you have a lot of content and if you need to automate that migration, then with that demo content, your technology partner can just implement a plugin which will pull your current content and migrate it into Layout Builder. But that is more for large sites when lazy migration is overwhelming option.
Yeah.
But again,
last-
remember that our current subsystem, which is on paragraphs, it's still well supported by Drupal community, and it's going to be with us for a long time. We are targeting for a year and a half supporting by us, but community will support it even further. So if you are not a big fan of Layout Builder, or if you have no resources to migrate, you can stay on current implementation and leverage Layout Builder for new marketing pages, for subsites, for subsections of your site, and live with both options on your site without any issues.
There is one more question. It says, I'm assuming this is available for Canadian Wise. Yes, Kate, it is available for Canadian Wise. They're just like you have to deal with now. You'd have to add a couple colors to match the Canadian color brand standards. But outside of that, there would be no difference to the approach you currently have.
I think half of the Canadian colors are already there. We would just have to.
They are, yeah. I think it's the red that's missing in terms of the right Pantone structure, but for the most part, everything else is actually there. And then just a quick kind note from Dmitry Drozdek that he's looking forward to the presentation. So I think that's it, unless there's any last minute questions or any more questions.
All right, and also I will have this posted to our YouTube channel in a couple of hours. I'll put out the link to get to it quickly on Slack, so you can look for it there. So yeah, thank you all for joining. Have a great day and great holidays, and I look forward to seeing you next month.
Goodbye, community. Thank you.
Goodbye, community. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you.
Now hit stop recording.
Stop the recording.